What an
I was gonna do a bit.
You were gonna do a whole bit?
I was gonna do a bit. I had a bit because you were heckling me last time.
Was I heckling and jeckling? I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Not last time, but in the interim. You heckled me in the interim because you were trying to talk about, I think, Kirby Planet Robobot.
I was trying to talk about Kirby the entire episode.
Okay,
and
so as my public apology, I will let you say one thing about Kirby right now. Do it. Go.
One thing about Kirby, I cried at the ending. I cried at the ending of Kirby Planet Robobot.
Okay. Welcome to New Shape episode 5.
Welcome to New Shape episode 5. To our lucky 5th listener, unfortunately, this is your favorite episode.
Although
I'm lady.
I did write that bit in the about of the last episode.
You did.
And then every person came back and I said, you have to fight to the death to.
This is true.
Each subscriber gets one episode, but then everyone said it was that episode. So
I was about to list our listener base. I think
they're here.
Our audience is small enough that I could probably just name them, but for the future heads, when we have 20 subscribers, I don't want them to know their identities, except for Chris, who I talk about all the time. Hi, Chris, I love you. But Chris was the first person I was like, yeah, I think this is my favorite episode.
Yeah.
So I guess Chris gets it.
Okay, so you've been playing PlayStation Home.
I've been playing PlayStation Home.
You've been trying to convince me to play PlayStation Home with you for ages, and I
probably about a year at this point.
Yeah, I haven't been trying. I haven't bothered to figure it out because that stuff confuses me. But you just messaged me last night, and you were like, "I updated my PlayStation, and PlayStation Home just appeared," and so you did stuff all night with it, and I was asleep. So
I was thinking. I've been thinking about Star Wars a lot lately. Specifically, I know. Hold on.
Particularly.
What?
What facet of it particularly? What?
Well, I've been watching Andor, which is a good show. And
okay.
Blah blah blah. But then I was thinking about Star Wars.
That's the Rogue One guy, right?
That's the Rogue One guy. Okay. The way that my mind works is ping pongs. So I was watching Andor. Good show. I went to Walmart the other day because I needed to get pants. And then I saw, because I am who I am, I went to check the monitos, I went to check the toys, and I saw that there are anniversary, card backs for Revenge of the Sith. And Revenge of the Sith, the third prequel movie, had this massive marketing push that included action figures with this, round bubble card that looked like Anakin and Darth Vader's face in lava. That was a big image. So they've released 20th anniversary card backs.
Right. I've been sitting around why is everyone fucking talking about Star Wars Episode 3 lately? And I only just now realized that it's because
it's 20 years old. It's been 20 years. It's been in theaters too. And
yeah,
anyway.
A lot of people I know went to go see it.
So I've been thinking a lot because Andor and Revenge of the Sith kind of represent two totally different eras of Star Wars. I was thinking about the kind of weird continuity before Disney stepped in. And to that end, I've been thinking about my friend's real appreciation and love for what the fuck is his name? Star Killer? It's Jed Star Killer.
I don't remember his real name, but I only really know him because he was a guest character
in Tekken. Not Tekken.
Soul Calibur 4.
That's so funny to me. And
I as a child, it was kind of hell to unlock him. You have to do some bullshit.
I mean, that's I miss that. Let me get the PlayStation Home first. Then we can talk about me missing unique character unlocks. And I really wanted to play their Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. So I went to my PlayStation, which I have hacked, and I thought, okay, I can just download it off of this repository of files, of games.
The downloader app.
Yeah, this downloader app. And in order to use it, I needed to update my PlayStation with my hack. So I did that, and then I noticed, as I was trying to remember what the fuck the program was in order to download games, I noticed, PlayStation Home's right there. It hasn't been there for a decade. And I opened it up immediately thinking, oh, maybe it's just some leftover code and it will just say, like, PlayStation Home has concluded. Thank you for your interest. Or some shit. And, no. It's this very clearly, like, sewn together menu with two options. It says, like, options and go online. In this really, like a system font. Like, it looks like it's the font for the BIOS or some shit. With a terrible crunchy JPEG of some, like, PlayStation Home characters. And I think, oh, okay, so this is someone's hack. So I boot it up. And, for those who are unaware, which, I mean, you are aware, because I know all 4 of our listeners, I'm obsessed with like, the PS3 PlayStation era, of, like, programs and products and whatever, and PlayStation Home was, like, a big part of that. I've always been interested in, like, MMOs like that. So I've been trying to capture that high for a while because I really love, like, I am who I am now. So I booted up and this was, like, about 1 o'clock in the morning already. And I was just thinking I'll do some minor exploring and go to bed. So I texted Lila at 5 a.m. saying, all right, I'm gonna go to bed now. Do you still want to record in the morning? And now we're here. I've been playing a lot of PlayStation Home. No one was online. I think there's like I joined the Discord server that hack is on, and it's got like 600 people in it, and maybe 3 people talking in it at a time, and no one was online. But I spent the whole night just exploring all of these areas I didn't know about. Exploring, like, all these different... So PlayStation Home is this like, you know, Second Life type program, but it was also used as a big marketing thing for Sony and, like, its affiliates.
That era of, like, Sony marketing is really interesting because it's also when they had, like, the, like, Sony Core, or like the PlayStation TV. And, I remember one of the first things we did together when we got closer as friends is we watched The Tester.
Yes,
together.
The Tester being this really, really short-lived, like, PlayStation game show, where people win the opportunity to be a fucking game tester.
Oh my god, it's so, like, just, like, the opportunity to be one of, like, the lowest...
most disrespected.
One of the lowest, like, rungs on the fucking game development totem pole.
So, one of my dear friends, his boyfriend is a game tester for Gearbox. And he's like, things have gotten better for game testers, but we're still treated like shit. And that's in 2025.
And I mean, this show was, like, circa, like, 2012.
I have to imagine, like, I'm just imagining you do this like, humiliation ritual to even get the damn job, and then you're still a fucking disrespected game tester in 2012.
The thing about it is that it's like you do all these, like, games and tests and stuff, and usually, like I used to watch a lot of Face Off, and it's like what they would do in there is, like, makeup challenges and stuff. Like, they would do something relating to the job, but they would nothing that they were doing in this show had anything to do with game development or game testing, other than, like, the idea of, like, I guess like having senses.
Yeah, like, having some minor, like, there would be these really ridiculous, like, physical challenges, and more often than not they would try to, like, tie it into a game that they're releasing at the time, and then, like, the judges would be like, okay, this challenge showed that you had initiative and you were a team lead, blah blah blah. But like, I have to imagine the only reason why that is because if it was actually based on game testing, you know, it would be like Behind Baseball or, like, Inside Baseball. You would see how boring the job can be. because game
Yeah.
testers, that job is advertised as like, do you like playing games for a living? Why don't you make it your career? You can become a game tester for all of our most famous products. And it's just like you have a clipboard and you are like slamming into the same fucking wall for 5 hours to see if
Yeah.
it bugs out.
But that era of like nerd culture promotion, like those game shows and Jessica Negri cosplays.
Jessica Negri cosplay.
It's so like
Tokyo
that,
Pop.
like, yeah. Well, Tokyo Pop is before to me. Tokyo Pop is like 2000s library core.
Okay, that's true, but
This is like
Comic
Comic Con streams on Spike TV type shit.
Oh my god! Or when the Game Awards were a thing, or sorry, the initial Game Awards were a thing.
Yeah, something like that. But that era is so like crucial to like the whole vibe of PlayStation Home to me. I only played PlayStation Home one time, and it was like I got like a PlayStation 3 because I grew up poor. Well, I'm still poor, but
But you grew up poor too.
yeah. And so I got my PlayStation 3 in like this like really weird dusty shop. It was like a secondhand shop, and the PlayStation 3 was really cheap because it was being used as a candle holder. And so it was covered in candle wax. And so I got this in like 2013, 2014, and it was like right before PlayStation Home was on the outs. So I played it one time before they like murdered it because I didn't have any games. Well, actually, it came with 2 games, Devil May Cry 4, which I did play a ton of, and then Genji, the
Oh my god,
giant
Dave the
crab
Blade?
one. Yeah, the giant enemy crab. And I didn't know it was
Yay!
the giant enemy crab game yet, because I mean, my stomach for jankiness was not as good as it is now, and I had trouble progressing in that. But,
Totally fair.
all that to say is that PlayStation Home is very integral to like that era for me.
Totally. To me, PlayStation Home represents most, probably because this is when I got my PS3. My dad, it's this really funny story. I was very fortunate enough to get a PlayStation 3 as like a smallish child. And I remember I sold everything I had in order to afford one. And one of the things that I sold was my dad's PS2. And I sold all the games on it, and it was like to GameStop because I didn't yet know that you could like get better money for other things. I remember that after I sold it, and I was playing it on that day too. Like this was something like this was something that I really valued. My dad opens up the trunk and there's like the PlayStation 3 he got me for Christmas, and he's like, "Oops." And then I'm just like, "Oh, okay, cool. Shit, my PlayStation 2." Well, his PlayStation 2. I don't know how he let me sell that thing.
I don't know. Was it like when those were still backwards compatible, or was it a later
No,
model?
this was during the price cut.
Okay.
So I think the
makes sense.
PlayStation 3, I don't remember what it was cut to, but it was like significantly cheaper than $700 fucking dollars.
Yeah, console price cuts are so funny because I remember thinking that like all our financial problems were solved as a child because I got like when GameCubes were like $50,
Yeah.
I got a GameCube, and I was like, oh, this must mean the horrors are finally over because I have a GameCube. Little did I know that the GameCube sold like shit and became really, really cheap.
Really, it's like keep seeing this photo from at the time of the GameCube, and it's like on a clearance section at Walmart for like $25. And I think about how, you know, the GameCube, they were really paying people to get rid of that shit, compared to how like expensive the games are now, like on the aftermarket.
I know.
It's
And
like insane to me.
I sold like so many. I sold my Wind Waker for like $5. Because I wasn't like into Zelda as a kid, so I was
Mhm.
like, why do I have this? This
Oh,
isn't
you
Shadow
poor
the
thing.
Hedgehog.
But after the price cut on the PlayStation,
Because I was a
that
Sega kid.
yeah, that totally tracks. You seem like a kid that was really struck by like Jet Set Radio, and
I didn't know about it.
really, oh, okay.
Yeah, but one of the first things to ever gravitate as an image in my mind was somebody I knew had a fridge magnet of
Huh?
Ooh La La,
Oh my
and
god.
I became obsessed. Like I had like childhood notebooks full of me just drawing Ooh La La's skirt, and that's how you could tell it was bad for me.
Oh my god. That's like the origin story for you becoming a femme lesbian. That's
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah.
Um,
Ooh La La fridge magnet.
that fucking owns so much.
Yeah,
Um,
I have. Uh, okay, why was I about to get into my childhood? Anyway, that mom was cool because she got me into Ooh La La, and then also she did have a copy of Xenosaga Episode 1 that she kept like
mhm.
away from her children in like a glass case, but she let me play a little bit of, and I was like, Xenosaga.
I think the reason I'm into PlayStation at all, I'm gonna get into my childhood, is because my dad had this coworker, and this is like a core memory to me. My dad had this
Hmm.
coworker, and he would go over to her place a lot, and then would just be like, "Oh fuck, right, I have kids. You're coming with me." And what I would do there is that coworker had a daughter, and she was like this super tomboy, slick back hair, like a little bit older than me, like skater punk, and would just be
Okay,
like, "Hey, you want to play PlayStation?" And I'd be like, "I don't know what that is. I
I
don't."
bet you liked her.
Yeah, I think this probably explains a lot about me now. Um,
Yeah, it kind of does.
it kind of
I've never
does.
heard this story before.
I remember it's so core to me. Like I remember the specific outfit from that memory. She was wearing like a red graphic tee with a white like long sleeve undershirt and cargo pants and boots. And I remember that the like it was so cool to me because her coworker like the coworker was really religious, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't really believe in Jesus." And I was like, "Wow, you can do that? That's so cool." Um
That's so fucking funny to me.
it is. And we played iToy a lot.
iToy. But yeah,
iToy.
I didn't have much PlayStation experience until I got to play one of my childhood friends' PS2s, and that's when I got into Kingdom Hearts. But
Oh hell yeah.
other than that, it's like my console trajectory was like I had a hand me down Dreamcast
Mhm.
because the Dreamcast did sell well, and so I was
Mhm.
given one. And then after that, I pivoted to a price cut GameCube where I got like all the Sonic games for it. So I was very much like on like the Sonic track.
Mhm. You were doomed to be like the Sega girly. I love
Yeah,
that.
until I had always I grew up on gaming magazines, so I
Yeah.
have a big backlog of like gaming magazines that I've acquired through various circumstances. Like sometimes literally I've been in a lot of situations in my life where it's like I couldn't like afford things, but I had things because some person just saw like this poor child and was like, here's a pile of something.
Mhm.
And so I like that's where I got a lot of my like Pokemon cards. Um like someone handed me like a Ziploc bag of Pokemon cards and was just like,
Aw,
just take this. And
that's so
then
sweet.
the same thing happened with like a bunch of like gaming magazines from like the early 2000s. And
Mhm.
so I like knew what PlayStation was, but I didn't have one until I like scrounged up $40 and I went to a mall, and like some of that was supposed to be like spent on like food and stuff, but I
Mhm.
saw like a PlayStation 2, a dusty PlayStation 2 that I had to open up and clean myself to get it to work,
Oh
which is
wow.
crazy. I fucking did that.
That's
But
awesome.
that and a single copy of Dance Dance Revolution Max, and that like changed my life. Was like
That's
my
like
my
that's some Lila origin story.
And it was like in that sweet spot of the early 2010s where PS2 resale games were rather cheap. So I was
Yeah,
getting a lot of like games
the
for
classics.
like $5 and shit. Yeah, so it's like really cheap copy of Persona 4, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
The best time to buy a used console is right after it's donezo.
And so it was like I I remember I like vividly remember like that like one of those final PS2 games that was like the insect cops.
Yeah.
Like the ad for like the cop bug game that was like this is like the game that's like we're done.
The insect cop bug game has absolutely no like search results in my brain.
Okay, well, I don't remember the name of it. It's like it's like I don't know. It's an insect cop.
In a world with insects and cops,
Well, they're
one
not insects
player.
and cops. They're insect cops.
Oh, they're like bug cops.
Yes, they're bug cops.
What the fuck is this game?
Insecticide.
Insect? I've literally never heard of it.
It was like one of the last PS2 games was
The last
Insecticide.
PS2 game that I know of is FIFA 2013.
Well, yeah, those don't count though, because those if it's
Yeah,
sports or just dance, it's gonna be there.
Anyway, price cut PS3. So I get a PS3. Thanks, Dad. That's probably the one thing I'm gonna thank you for. And there's this program
That's how I
called
feel about my
PlayStation Home.
Dreamcast.
And actually, I played PlayStation Home before that, and the reason why I wanted one at all was because my cousin, like my super duper rich cousin who had like the $700 model, showed me a year ago, like, hey, there's this beta, and I was like, what's a beta? It's like for, it's like for this game.
And that's
it's called
how she got
PlayStation
into
Home.
Omegaverse.
Yeah, that's how I got into Omegaverse, and it's why I have Omega Slick. Is that a thing?
Okay, so anyway, PlayStation Home.
Thank you for letting me like flounder in silence there. I was like, oh god, our relationship is over. PlayStation Home, and he had showed me that, and I was like, wow, that's neat. So I downloaded it almost immediately. And
Yeah.
the thing about PlayStation Home is it's one of the what I would call one of the first free to start games, where sure you can play it for free, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do for free, but if you're not spending money in it, then you are getting kind of nothing out of it. And the thing is I as you can imagine, I didn't have a lot of money. The only things I ever really did on PlayStation Home were walk around, try as hard as I could to make decent outfits with the free stuff that was available. And the one time I spent money, it was on the Little Big Planet like apartment you can get.
I knew it was gonna be a Little Big Planet thing.
It had to be. Little Big Planet is the sole reason why I wanted a PlayStation 3 as a kid. I remember another core memory. It was at Target. We were at fucking Target, and in the like clearance section was Little Big Planet, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And my dad said, "What the hell is this fruity ass game? You don't want that. You're too young for, or you're too old for it." And I was like 9, and I'm like, "Okay, I still want it though." And so I think I eventually ended up getting it, and he eventually gave me that PS3, and that game made me what I am.
Yeah, you're a total like so much of like that's such a like
a core.
Yeah.
I'm a Little Big Planet planetician or something.
Sure.
So that's what I would do. And I didn't make any friends on PlayStation Home. I would just kind of walk around and say hi. But I had these strong memories of the base locations. Okay, here's the mall. Here's the plaza. Here's the Little Big Planet area. And I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. And it was it's this specific aesthetic that I really enjoyed, of early 2000s modernism. It looked like everything was fresh out of an interior design magazine, and I was really struck by that. So constantly on my head, years later, I stopped playing PlayStation Home like not very soon after that. But that those images of like that specific style of architecture and interior design and that kind of game, I'm really obsessed with empty MMOs and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
think
been
we've talked about that. I always bring up the Matrix Online thing. That might literally be in either the test episode or the first episode. I don't remember.
I don't remember, but like I mean I remember you talking about it, but I don't remember like what specific episode.
Yeah.
But empty MMOs I just really love. And so, in the stupidest creepypasta ever, I update my PS3 and there's PlayStation Home, so of course I gotta play it. And
The only scary thing happens is that you didn't sleep.
yeah, the only thing that didn't happen was I didn't sleep. So, in this hack, which I've learned is PlayStation homology or something. I doubt that group will be listening to this episode, but they seem nice. What they've done is that they've kind of opened up the dev menu for whoever the fuck is playing. And they've given
That's cool.
players a lot of like free, I think, premium objects. Like I saw in the houses that I owned, there was a bunch of shit that I had literally never seen before in my life, that I don't remember having as a free player then. And I spent the night exploring like what was left of PlayStation Home. What was especially cool to me is what was archived, and the locations that I saw were PlayStation Home right before it was taken down. Like maybe the day before, because every location I was in had all of these signs that are like, "Thank you, Homesters, for playing PlayStation Home. We'll miss you." Or like
that's so interesting. That reminds me of that time I went to like a closing grocery store, like the day it was closing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really dark in there.
Oh my god, yeah, that's how it felt. Like closing, like do you remember Borders Books?
Yes, I remember Borders Books.
There's this really popular image of an empty Borders Books where someone, like a coworker, had taken the letters from the sections and wrote out "The end is nigh" or "The end is near." And it's like a meme image. And that's exactly what I was thinking of when I was playing PlayStation Home. Like that plaza that I was talking about. But number one, was weirdly hard to access for an area that I thought was like the hub. And I was like, man, things look a little different here. Like it had just across the years that had been updated to incorporate all these new elements. And like I thought that was neat to compare my memory of it to what the reality was. And I also noticed like, oh, the mall area looks totally different. It looks a lot worse. And this ugly addition to one of the hub areas, like it looked like it was hastily put in there. It was called the PlayStation 4 experience. And it was this like advertising room for the PlayStation 4. And that was like super, super surreal to me because like, I don't know. Imagine selling the object of your destruction, or like advertising the object of your destruction.
I mean, I guess you could view it like that, but it's the same people making both. So
I mean, yeah, I know. And PlayStation
it's not
Home,
like, oh, we got bought out by PlayStation 4 and now they're killing us.
Yeah. I mean, it just was kind of funny to me, especially because it was one of the lower effort areas. I think because it was at the end and there weren't nearly as many
They're just
developers.
kind of like, I guess we'll slide in an opportunity to promote the PlayStation 4.
Yeah. I mean, but it's also so neat because in my, like, the specific marketing and design language of the PlayStation 4 is so radically different from what PlayStation Home is. So, like, that extremely visible contrast was really cool to me. I also noticed that they, like, you could explore any area that was exclusive to very specific regions. I didn't even know that there were exclusive areas. Like, for example, the Japanese hub area is a unique map designed specifically for that region.
Interesting.
I know, right? So I was looking through it, and they had archived some of the events that were there. So there was a like, oh, here's the plaza, but it's got a bunch of Macross stuff.
Whoa.
Here's
Is that like Macross Delta area or before Delta?
I'm gonna be so fucking honest with you,
I'm
Lorelai.
sorry. I know you've not watched any Macross.
I have no clue. I don't know. But I recognize it was Macross because I've seen the monitos at the store. There was like a winter version of it, like and the plaza was covered in snow.
Yeah, it's Macross Frontier.
And then there's like a bunch of no, I'm sorry that I don't know what Macross Frontier is yet. I'll get to it one day.
You have to. What I love Plus.
I've been told that Plus is something I would love from you and my other friend.
To get into a little Macross talk about my opinions on Macross, I think the original series is decent. I don't know if that's controversial, but I think the movie version of it, Do You Remember Love, stood out to me a lot more. Somewhat because it has like anime movie production value, but that movie is really solid. I recommend seeking that out. And then I did actually go out and watch Macross 2, which is kind of the one that's like not quote unquote non-canon, and people don't really talk about it that much. But I found it interesting in the ways that it like diverged a lot from like what Macross typically is. And then I've seen Macross Plus, which is one of my favorite anime. So,
Macross Plus is the
Watanabe.
Thank you. I was gonna say Ishinomori, but that's Kamen Rider. That's Sentai. That's Skullman. So walking through those areas was super neat. Like there were also old advertisements for like follow us on Twitter. And you'll receive this item. And I'm like, oh, that's so... I wonder if this Twitter account still exists. I don't think they do. So I was exploring that. And I'm just going to use this as like a travel log. I think this will have like a big chunk of travel log this episode. So that plaza covered in snow, I took a lot of photos of. I took a lot of photos in PlayStation Home. I will probably include a link to my photos if any of you are interested, because I like them and I had a lot of fun.
I write the bios, so just throw me, if you make like an Imager folder or something, just throw me those and I'll pop the link in the bio.
Yippee! Okay, I'll do that. So I explored this icy plaza. I decorated my like starter apartment. There were a lot of locations that I didn't recognize. I don't know if you know this, but the developers, or at least main developers of PlayStation Home, there were a lot of developers.
That makes sense.
Was Sony Computer Entertainment London made a game on the PlayStation 2 called The Getaway. Now, The Getaway is kind of nothing special, and it's like a crime simulator game, but it's known for two things. Number one, when you beat the game, you have access to, like, you can drive around London, and what's interesting about that is that London is comprised of a bunch of photo scans, and it is a time capsule because that London uses so many non-authorized logos because they're like just photos, which is kind of cool. And number two, they were developing, I think, for the sequel game. I think the sequel actually might be what I'm thinking of, The Getaway London. There was this like multiplayer mode with a menu where you could walk around a small area, like a city street, a city block, and that was the starting point for PlayStation Home. That feature was like struck Sony, and they were like, okay, we can do something with that. Can you make PlayStation Home? And there was this area that looked exactly like The Getaway, except it was in New York. It was called The Playground, and it's like right under the Brooklyn Bridge, and it looks like Brooklyn and like New York if someone only knew those locations from the Canon Films Death Wish series, which is this like Charles Bronson led like action crime fighting movie where New York is covered in trash and like garbage and I gotta take out the garbage or whatever, you know. So like it's covered in trash and it has this
I've
very
seen a poster of this.
has this very specific design language that like isn't representative of New York at that time, but it's still super funny to me. So I was walking around that area and there's like ads for the police and like shitty restaurants, and there's like a crime scene in a unaccessible location, but there's also like a basketball mini game and chess and like a little stage that you can perform shows on and shops and a train station. So I took a lot of photos there because it's weirdly like realistically detailed. Most of PlayStation Home is this super hyper clean, like sleek aesthetic. So to have something with dirt is really kind of cool.
You need dirty PlayStation Home.
I love dirty places. They're so cool. I explored what they called the music club, and it looked like this really. It looked like a location from John Wick or some shit. There was.
I get the vibe.
There was booths with like bright neon lights, and there was like a DJ console in the center, and then
like Sifu clubs scene.
Yeah,
fight
exactly,
shit.
Exactly like that. Except all the lights were on. Like it wasn't. You know, there weren't like lights. It was like, all right, we're closing up shop. Get the fuck out.
Get out.
Get out. Which was kind of cool.
Sets over.
Yeah, it sets over. Please go home. Leave us alone. So all the lights were on, and I was like, oh, how funny. And like there was this little outdoor area. Actually, it wasn't outdoors. It was like a glass container. And if you look below you, there's a waterfall. But if you look in front of you, where the rest of the world should be, it's empty. It's just like an empty void. And that was really freaky. Like it was sky blue, but it looked like, oh my God, there's nothing here. There's no land. There's no world.
There's nothing here.
There's nothing here. Ooh, the quiet silence of PlayStation Home or some shit. There was another. I explored the mall. The mall used to have 2 floors accessible by a staircase, and I remember that pretty vividly. And so do other people, because in the Media Molecule game Dreams, there are several recreations of that mall, like that specific version of that mall.
I like how this is how you know for a fact that there is stairs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that from memory, and also like, you know, like I told you, I've been trying to chase that PlayStation Home high. So finding recreations was really cool. But yeah, used to have a staircase, and now they're like 2 floors of really cramped rooms with I don't know if you remember what Hot Topic and PAX Zone used to look like in the like.
I've never seen a PAX Sun in my life, but I was raised by a 2000s. My aunt was goth in the 2000s, so yes, I have been to.
So you remember how
brick arch era.
Brick arch and like heavy theming with these like absurd metal rot gates. Yeah. With storefronts that all look like that.
Interesting.
It is kind of cool, but like none of these stores look like they go together, which is really funny to me. And then I explored
just like a mall.
Just like a mall. And then I realized, oh fuck, they left the dev menu open. So what I did is I explored it immediately, and I realized you can give yourself whatever clothes were there, and whatever furniture items were on the service.
Oh, is that why you were dressed like that?
Yeah. Well, no. That the shirt was a base item. The shoes were a base item. Those hot pants, all premium, baby. My character, I tried to make.
Got those premium PlayStation Home hot pants.
That's some premium PlayStation Home. God, I need to get into the outfits for a hot second. But whenever I play games like this, it's fun to play like as someone else. It's fun to play another role, but I feel bad about doing that because it feels disingenuous with me anyway.
I see.
I know. I'm very specific. So I tried to make my freak look as much as me as I could, which was kind of hard to do given the PlayStation 3 graphics of it all. Uh, but you get like I think 5 items per. So there's like a long sleeved red and black striped T-shirt that I was wearing,
Uh-huh.
and I had on like cargo pants and like slippers. There were not many shoes to pick from. Um, but after I opened up the dev menu, I was like, oh, I can give myself whatever the fuck item I want. And the dev menu is really, really, really slow when it opens up the catalog. So I spent maybe about like 40 minutes just trying to get through the first 20th of the amount of items that they had. And I was just like, okay, these I might wear. These I might wear, these I might wear, these I might wear. And it was just pants. This was all just pants. These I might wear. And one of them were these like magenta, like dark magenta hot pants with Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 belt.
Which, okay, 3.
Yeah, Part 3.
He's the one with the hat.
He's the one with the hat. He has 2
Okay.
belts on, and they have like little triangle motifs.
I
And
only remember what he looks like from the shoulders up.
okay, well he has on 2 belts, and then there was like
just
a
look him
gold
up.
chain and these like absurd tights with triangles on them, and these like platform heels. And I was like, sure, I'll take it. So I put those on almost immediately.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And then I explored all the different apartments that I didn't know were in the game. Like, of course,
Yeah, you sent me the one of Toro.
yes. There was this area that I explored based on like whatever Doko Demo Isio game just came out. I think it was like a party game. It was called
Yeah.
like Toro Plaza. And one of the message of the day said, there are parades every hour on the hour. Get ready. And that entire area, which I think was Japan exclusive, did have a lot of English
Probably.
translation stuff.
Interesting.
So you could what was in that area, which for visual sake, I will compare to like GM Construct, the Gary's Mod map, or GM Flatwood,
Okay.
another game Gary's Mod map.
I only know the one with the big mirror.
Yeah, that's GM Construct, and it felt like really empty. I mean, obviously it was, but it had all these cute little like Toro related interactables. Like there was one interactable that was like this cute house, and it said Toro's apartment. There is no landlord. There was another area. I realized that you could. There were less invisible walls than I thought, so I found this gate to the highway, but because there's like a highway bridge underneath or above this little town area, and there's like a hole in the gate, and there's a sign there that says someone left a hole here. How careless. Someone could get hurt. And your character can like not go through the hole, but like kind of stick themselves in the hole. And it was just so cute. And everything was like in almost full bright too. And I didn't end up seeing one of those parades, but I was really shocked that the little video screens still worked, because those videos are loaded off of like another server, but they were playing clear as day. Some ad for some game that I probably will never play, and that was really cool. And exploring that, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna explore apartments. So I found the Toro one. All of these items, by the way, as you might be able to surmise, are named like a file. They're like a file name, so it's not like Toro's apartment. I just would have to kind of guess.
Figure shit out. Yeah.
Figure shit out. So I found that.
Get the old notepad out.
Get the little notepad. I found the Little Big Planet house that I had bought as a kid. It was as cool as I remembered. It looks like the pod. And it has this like super 70s shagadelic ass like apartment in the back, which is super cool. And it's
I love that.
its primary feature.
You didn't tell me that aspect of it. You just told me it was quote unquote super fab.
I mean, yeah, it totally was.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
And everything looks like it's made out of cloth and stitched together, and
Oh, that's cute.
and you're like little and small. And there's this feature in one of the rooms that you can decorate where there's like a wallpaper creator where you can just like splat stickers onto a wallpaper. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. So I spent some time doing that. It was so neat. There was another apartment that was themed to that, like, not Brooklyn, which was called the Playground. I don't know if I mentioned that. And it
No,
looked
you
like a
haven't.
Max Payne level.
Oh.
And I thought that was so cool.
Scary
Like,
ass playground.
scary ass playground. Imagine, like, you. First of all, that is not a free location. That's a location that you have to pay for, I'm pretty sure.
My paid scary playground.
You're paid, like,
That I
Max
can
Payne
Max
level,
Payne
and
jump
you're like,
around in.
hello, welcome to my Max Payne house. But honestly, I really love that. Some of the free
Yeah.
items that I was given from that group, I guess, were all of these things like luxury apartment, luxury yacht, luxury, and I'm like, no, show me grit, show me stink,
Show me scary playground.
show me scary playground. And then I spent a lot of time like finding or scrolling through menus and finding items. Some of the things were like, here's a Sony Aibo, like the little dog, the robot dog. There was a lot of like sexy robot maids, dead zombies attacking you in your house. Werewolf grave was an item that I saw.
Okay.
Chef's like oven, stovetop, like refrigerators, fish tanks, lights and beds, and of most styles that I could think of. But none of them were very organized. So again, like I
Yeah.
just would have to wade through these things and hope to God I found something interesting. But like what was super neat was flipping through these items and noticing the kinds of like brand partnerships that they had. Obviously, a lot of them are based on like Sony properties or like Sony affiliates. So there were a lot
Yeah.
of like promo items for Ghostbusters, for example, which, you know, was released by or distributed by Columbia Pictures, which is owned by Sony, and had a game at the time. So like, and the shit that they had for Ghostbusters was really funny because it was like Ghostbusters toaster, and it was just a normal toaster.
What?
Ghostbusters coffee maker, and it's just a coffee maker. Ghostbusters
So,
bagels.
Were they like what about them? Was it just like a bagel, a microwave, a
Yeah.
coffee maker?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they were just normal
Like
items.
like it didn't have like the ghost logo on the back of it or whatever.
No, I think they were like prop, like quote unquote prop replicas from like the firehouse or something.
Okay, my prop replica of a bagel.
Of a bagel and a donut. And then there was like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man,
Okay,
Slimer.
Slimer.
And then there was like a lamp that looked like the Ghost logo. Which was really fun. Oh, wait, you know what's really funny to me, and I think I might be the only person who gives a shit. That Slimer model that they used for that toy is wasn't based on the movie. It doesn't, like, Slimer does not look like that in Ghostbusters 1 or 2.
Okay.
So I don't know
I
where the
have
fuck they
no
pulled
idea.
that from.
My only experience of Ghostbusters is that I have seen the first one.
I used to.
That's all I got.
So one of the things that I told you about, I'm sorry that this is such a lady-focused episode, by the way, so far. But I'm really energetic and I'm running off of like 4 hours of sleep, and I just drank a Dr. Pepper. So I feel a little hyped.
And I've
And
never played PlayStation Home. Well, aside from that one time that I mentioned previously.
I mentioned earlier to, I think yesterday, that I learned recently that the letters RPF stand for real person fiction to a lot of people, but to me have always meant
You said, what was it? I'm going to pull up our texts.
I was talking about like information on replication, and and I was hoping to find like some featurettes, but I was like, ugh, but the RPF doesn't count. And you were like, RPF, girl.
Yeah, yeah, because you were talking about Star Wars.
Yeah,
and then you were like, the RPF doesn't count, and I'm like Mark Hamill Yowie?
No.
What?
So RPF to me, for years, and to other dorks that are probably around their like 40s and 50s now, has always meant replica prop forum. And it's this like, a forum where people will share the information or screenshots or measurements or like sell their molds and casts of props from a bunch of movies and stuff. And I love the RPF, and I love seeing the kinds of information that's available, but it's also like it's hobbyist stuff. So I was really like, that's not what I'm looking for. Like I really wanted like a DVD featurette about like the prop Fab Labs that made like the props in Star Wars, like the most recent Star Wars,
like actual
info
stuff.
Yeah. So the RPF has always been like that to me. And
I had never heard of this because I just haven't.
It was kind of neat to see all of these items in PlayStation Home that weren't accurate to the props, but like how could they be?
Yeah.
There were some other things that I found that were really funny. The robot maids I thought were hilarious.
Were they from anything, or were they just robot maids?
They were just robot maids.
Okay.
There was posters for movies, and the movie selection was insane. A bunch of Resident Evil, Mila Jovovich movie posters.
Yeah, Mila Jovovich.
Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Yeah.
Leon the Professional.
I don't know what that is.
It's the Luc Besson movie about.
Oh, Leon. I thought you said, for some reason, I thought you said Liam Professional, and I was like, I don't know what that is. Leon,
No.
Leon the Professional.
Yeah. Ghostbusters, obviously.
Sure.
And 1,000,003 posters, all labeled like either Wonderland or Grim Fairy Tales, and what they were like extremely scantily clad women drawn in like a Top Cow art style, with like maybe the vaguest allusion to a fairy tale. So like, here's Little Red Riding Hood with her ass out.
I literally do think that is like an actual real life like Top Cow comic.
That's hilarious.
Hold on.
It was like Wonderland and Grim Fairy Tale, and that was like a majority of the posters.
Oh, okay. It's not Top Coat, but yeah. Grim Fairy Tales is a Zenescope Entertainment comic that has been running for like years now. Like it's on its 20th anniversary and it's still going.
That's so crazy.
So yeah, that's a really. I think those were probably cover arts over the
Watchmen movie. There were a lot of Watchmen objects, and Judge Dredd, not Judge Dredd like the movie that with Sylvester Stallone, not Dredd the movie with the other guy, but Judge Dredd the comic, 2000 AD. So I downloaded a poster of some girl called like Sylvia Blue Jeans or something.
But when you had mentioned that it had Judge Dredd stuff, I just assumed it was the Carl Urban one.
Mm-hmm.
But then I actually looked it up and I saw the model of it and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. It looks like a comic character.
Yeah. It that was so unique to me. And there were other posters too, like the K-On! Movie, Persona 4.
Whoa,
those were like the Japan only ones. And there was there were a lot of these things didn't have like preview icons. So what I would do is I would just download them and look at them later. But I downloaded these two posters that were like Japan exclusive, and I looked at them and they were for something called Evangelion World, which looked like a attraction in Japan. Because these were like real life photos, and I was like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" Like one of them was Unit 02 bursting through a wall with her teeth bared and screaming, and I'm like, "Whoa, cool!"
Okay, yeah, it is a permanently closed amusement park ride in Fujikawa Guchiko, which is a place in Japan that I've never heard of. but it is there. Oh, this place actually looks sick. Hold on, I'm about to send you the exterior of this fucking place.
It honestly, like, it looked awesome. I have that
'Cause
poster.
it's got like this. It looks like it's got like coils, and it's all like painted in the color of Unit 01. I just sent you
Oh
a
my
picture of
god, this looks like medieval times.
it. Yeah, it looks fucking sick as hell.
Oh my
Like,
god, I wish
the
we
top
could
of
go.
it like has like a White Castle vibe to it.
Yes,
like how they build White Castles.
You, you know that shit that's like, I know that place was a fucking Pizza Hut before. Do you think after Evangelion World closed, they made that shit into a White Castle?
Do they? I don't think they have White Castle in Japan.
Probably not. But it was.
I feel like White Castle is like very like distinctly American.
They had like such a wide variety of fucking posters, but none of them were like good. I loaded up the Final Fantasy Spirits Within poster because I love that movie. And you want to know what it was like? The DVD box art, and on the bottom it says in large fucking font, "Now streaming on Crackle." Why would I want that? Why the fuck would I want that?
You want that?
Why? Like, it was so weird. A couple other highlighted items. The Final Fantasy 13 PS3. Lightning's Gunblade.
So they did open one White Castle
What?
in Osaka.
What?
And it opened and closed in 1986.
And that's where they built Evangelion World.
And that's where they built Evangelion World, is in the like 6-month long stint in Osaka. Wait, no, because we know where Evangelion World is, and it's not in Osaka.
My favorite thing about Evangelion World, is the logo. It looks so much like it was made in fucking PowerPoint or something.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
I'm so sorry, because I'm so obsessed with I'm attached to the idea of the
White Castle in Osaka.
The Osaka White Castle.
Oh man. Like, how long do you think it lasted? Like, I know it lasted a year, but do you think it was like they open it up and the Japanese public says this shit sucks?
Yeah, I don't know. It says that there's no reliable like records in regards to it, and so it just
on the
says
English
that, like,
speaking web.
In 1986 there just was an Osaka White Castle, and by the time 1987 was around, there wasn't.
So you know how in like on Twitter in the States there's like people that will log unique looking McDonald's?
Yeah.
Do you think in Japan there's people that log unique looking White Castles?
I don't. Oh, probably, because White Castles are very distinct looking. But I think more so people are just more into, because they redesigned White Castles, and so sometimes people find like a older White Castle, and
it still looks like fucking medieval times. Everybody go.
Yeah.
That is so funny to me.
Because they used to like be made out of like, they had like a very brick feel to them.
It used to be made out of gold. It used to be made out of
the
gold,
golden-
they tell you.
The Golden White Castle.
I've literally never been to a White Castle, by the way. The first time I learned about White Castle was Harold and Kumar Go To.
Yeah, I'm from the Midwest, so it's White Castle is from Ohio. I'm not from Ohio personally, but it is like, it's very much like a thing in the area. It's not a good thing. Like, nobody's like, I fucking love White Castle. Well, somebody's probably like, I fucking love White Castle. But it's very much just like something you eat.
There's a weird like dedication.
Shitty emo teenagers in the Midwest in the 2000s going to White Castle is like the vibe.
So like that girl, the goth girl, like drinking that McDonald's saying "fuck my baka life" or some shit, but it's White Castle.
Yeah. That's essentially what White Castle, well, should be for, but
wasn't,
yes.
but should. That's funny.
That's just the kind of place that White Castle is.
The place for that in Texas was like Steak and Shake.
Okay. Yeah, we have Steak and Shake here. And that is kind of, I think they're I think they're comparable, but I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're comparable, kind of.
It has been so funny to me. I've never been to a Steak and Shake. I had a friend that worked there once. But like it's always just been that vaguely 50s themed diner, but it's been so funny to me to see them try and do the alt-right grift. Cuz
Are they doing that?
Yes. Oh my god, yes. So they were recently endorsed by RFK Jr. because they're putting beef tallow back in their fries, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna put beef tallow back in the fries," or some shit.
Oh my god.
And they've been like advertising crypto coins and stuff, and they also
think, like, none of this shit will ever, like, everyone really needs to like match Hobby Lobby's freak in like stealing a tablet of Gilgamesh, because that is still Hobby Lobby stealing the tablet of Gilgamesh is still the craziest fucking thing that has ever come out of like alt-right grifting corporation.
Yeah. That's so at least like at least it makes for an interesting read with the article later.
Yeah, it's not just like the same shit where it's like, I hate gay people and I hate you and we're putting beef tallow in the fries.
The Steak and Shake also had like an AI generated logo that looked like the SS Totenkampf, which is like fucking crazy.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are you what?
I wish I was joking, but you know, that's how hard they're pulling this grift.
That's fucking crazy.
There was something about it. I don't think it actually had like the Totenkampf, but like very clearly that's what the AI was trained on. It's fucking crazy. It's so fucking
had, like,
stupid here.
Similar like trends in its design.
Yeah. They posted this massive AI generated spaceship that said, "To the moon! At Elon Musk, take us there!" Something like that.
Crazy thing for Steak and Shake to be doing.
Of all the things,
Steak and Shake.
Imagine like the People's Republic of Chili's, like the Chili's family restaurant, or like, fuck it, like, Peck'll make phone call. Like, who cares? What is this? What kind of world do we live in? We don't live in the world. We don't live in the world where you can go on PlayStation Home and buy a Killzone 3 labeled 7-Eleven Slurpee cup anymore. Yes, let's talk about our fucking movie.
Yeah, because you can't say Killzone 3 without immediately pivoting to the fact that there are some things that need to be said about Killzone 3 in regards to the movie that we watched.
Are there?
Yes, I'll get to it. Okay, so
what?
No.
What?
In lieu of Ladies' Hands still hurting and therefore Kingdom Hearts discussion not going forward, we screened a movie instead. This movie that we screened is the 2006 American remake of the 2001 Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie Pulse.
Which I've never seen, by the way.
Which you've never seen. I've seen it. I love it. It stars Veronica Mars, and I guess because you really want to know about the Killzone 3 thing, is to preface this is directed by a man named Jim Sunzero, who has his Wikipedia page is one of those Wikipedia pages that can like be contained within a single screenshot.
What?
And what it contains is 4 things.
Oh my god, I'm seeing it.
Obviously this movie Pulse. 2, the co-directing the music video for Mariah Carey's Can't Let Her Go, and then being the cutscene director for Resident Evil 5 and Killzone 3.
Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh my god, it's all connected.
That's his whole career. I thought you knew that. I thought that's why you brought up Killzone 3.
No, I brought it up because if I brought up the Little Big Planet 2 Slurpee cup, you'd be like, oh, of course this bitch is on the Little Big Planet 2 Slurpee cup.
Okay.
Not that you would actually say that. It's just like, I've already brought up Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
No,
but,
that's so funny.
Yeah, so this man has a very bizarre career. For context, I guess, Pulse is a movie. It's a
movie, all right.
Pulse 2001 is a Japanese movie about computers and loneliness. So it's very much in that era of like post-economic bubble burst, Japan, Y2K bug fears that were kind of like infesting like late 90s, early 2000s Japanese media because yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
so
like
naturally,
Elaine or something.
yeah,
The
like
silver
the Lane
case.
era. Yeah, that entire era. I find that era really fascinating because I think while the Y2K bug fear was very global, I think post-economic, and this is just me not like, this isn't me, this is me interpreting art, not having a research take on global societal phenomenon. But I get the sense that like post economic bubble burst, there was the sense that like the one thing that Japan had after that was technological advancements. And so this idea, if all computers were going to go kaput, there would be this kind of sense of like, well, what do we have and how do we connect after that? And I think that's very much informing stuff like Lane and Silvercase and Pulse. Pulse is very good. Everyone should go watch it. But being a Japanese horror film that came out in 2001, it was obviously placed alongside Ringu, Ju-on, One Missed Call, Dark Water as the internationally packaged J-horror genre, which is not like a real genre, but it was in there. And so in 2006, it gets this American slasherified. Would you say it's kind of slashery with the way that its ghost function?
Yeah. Slasher,
because it's very
sure.
Like Pulse 2001 has death, obviously, but
I would
it
actually, you know what?
this,
I wouldn't call it slasher at all. It was like a zombie movie.
Yeah, but I guess what I meant by slashery is that it's very much in that American horror structure of like each person goes one by one.
That's true.
In that fashion. The original is very much not like that. Like I said, it has deaths, but it does follow like a core cast pretty consistently.
This movie was so funny to me because number one, I've never seen Pulse. I'm gonna have to assume that this movie took a lot of liberties with
I would say it has very little similarity to the movie Pulse.
There's
but
we
it
talked
has
about
an interesting premise.
Sure.
Because we talked about this in the sense that it is about because it is in 2006 instead of 2001 and it's an American film instead. It is very much about like the intersection between like MySpace depressed late teens people and the Live Leak generation.
Oh,
like there's a lot of Live Leak inspiration in the premise.
For sure.
It's not executed well at all. I'd say actually it's executed very poorly.
Because I'm assuming none of you listening are going to watch this movie very quickly, I'm going to go through the plot of the movie very quickly. In a world where there's a white girl at a really innocuous college called Computer Center.
Mars.
And she's Veronica Mars, or that bitch from The Good Place. You know, that white woman that looks like a white woman? She has, like, 4 friends, and she's at the bar, and her boyfriend isn't responding to her texts, inspecting his apartment, which happens to look almost exactly like it's in the middle of Eastern Europe. She finds
the film. Where was it filmed in again?
Slovenia?
No. It was like, I think you said it was like Romania or something.
Oh, that makes sense. Romania. She finds that her boyfriend has committed suicide by like hanging himself with a computer wire, and there's weird stuff happening on his computer. And this movie makes sure to note that like everyone's using a computer these days, and she's haunted by like her boyfriend and stuff across the entire movie, and her friends keep disappearing, and the electronics keep getting weirder.
Yeah, there's essentially this like stream that appears on people's computer of like the ghosts of like dead people, and then they appear and. Well, first the person starts being like, I really need to kill myself. like right now. I really need to kill myself. And then either they do, or if they can't bring themselves to kill themselves, they like explode into black powder.
Mm-hmm. Well, like,
and then
like mold.
Yeah, they like kind of like become like little mold particles, and presumably like that causes like some level of like widespread infection.
Something like that. There's so
Because,
many
like,
scenes in this movie.
The first like 2/3 of this movie are like in that kind of like picking them off one by one like structure, but then the last like bit of the movie like turns into a disaster film where like
the entire world has killed themselves or become mold.
Yeah, or is in the process of doing that. Veronica Mars basically the cops like take the computer and they sell it to like this guy who is like a bad boy. He's working on his car and he has a wife beater on and he's wearing jeans and he's kind of rugged and he has
guy liner on,
Cobra,
so you know
Cobra Starship hair.
Oh my god.
He looks like a member of Metro Station.
Oh my god. Oh my god, you're so right.
He's like giving some serious like Trace Cyrus vibes.
Yeah.
And so he links up with Veronica Mars because he has the ghost computer. Mm-hmm. And by the end, obviously, because he's that guy and she's that woman, they like link up and are a duo. And so the end of the movie, they're like literally just like running around like it's fucking like a disaster film, like it's a fucking like Roland Emmerich film, but with cyber ghosts.
I really love that ending, and by love I mean like, you know, kind of despise, but I love it because number one, this movie is so ridiculously low budget. Number two, during the disaster portions of the film, the camera is shoved in like it's a very it's like a very, very shallow looking lens. So everyone is super cramped in these like shots, and just because I assumed that they couldn't afford a mess on the streets, so there's these scenes where like Veronica Mars and whatever the fuck that guy's name was are like talking to survivors and they're like, we gotta get out of here, we gotta get.
Yeah, there's like this one. It's like slowly over the film. It's like people are vanishing and like you don't really see much other than that there's like less people, and then like out like very like. There's like a TV broadcast where they're like, people just keep dying.
Stay away from the machines, the signals. The signals are gonna kill you.
And so people just vanish, and by the end, like, they run out into the street and they encounter like three people, and like two of them are like screaming their heads off about getting away from computers. And then did you like think anything of like the random girl they had with them?
I was wondering about that.
Because so, it's these two old white people, and then
like British white people.
Yeah, one young Asian girl who says nothing and then runs off with the other two people. But before that, while Kristen Bell is like running off, she like looks back and the Asian girl looks back and they like link eyes and it just lingers on them for like 5 to 10 seconds.
It
and
felt
then
like was it a reference I'm not getting? Like who is that woman?
I don't know.
I literally don't know what they intended there.
I don't know what was that just to be like.
Were they kidnapping that girl?
I don't know. I don't know.
It was one of the weirder decisions of that movie across an entire movie of bizarre decisions. Like we talked about the interesting premise of, you know, focusing on the live leak generation, but by that it kind of doesn't. Like there's a scene where Mr. Hot Sex or whatever is looking at the computer and telling Kirsten Dunst like, your boyfriend was into some freaky shit. There's just live streams of people killing themselves, or like they're like GIFs of people about to kill themselves. Like there's a repeating a clip of a guy like loading a gun. There's a guy that's like choking himself with like a plastic bag.
Yeah, but then he like takes off the plastic bag and there's another plastic bag.
Yeah, I don't know. It was so weird. And like other clips like that. And that's an interesting premise for a horror movie, but then it's just like I don't get it. So do you watch the screen and then you kill yourself? Like why are these
I don't
ghosts
know.
showing these clips? And
And I
the,
also, something I love is that the movie is already rather tech illiterate, but Veronica Mars herself is
mhm,
like never owns a computer, but
yeah,
has seemingly like never
touched it.
knows nothing.
Knows
Knows
nothing.
absolutely nothing.
There's this really funny scene where she's located the computer and she's going to confront the guy about it. And this is after she was getting like really weird messages from her dead boyfriend. And
Yeah,
she's like,
that just say like
"You
help
didn't
me.
even log off of his account? That's so evil. That's so cruel. How could anyone do that? Do you get off to this?" And the guy opens his trunk and the computer is there, and he's like, "I haven't used it yet." Um, like, this movie wants to say something about technology, but I swear to God, it's like it
Yeah,
was
there's
made
this
by
like intro
cavemen.
scene. There's like this intro scene where she's like walking into like her college campus, and it's like people are on their cell phones, people are opening laptops, people are texting, people are on MySpace, and it like doesn't say anything about that. I guess the plot, I guess what it's saying is that everyone has a computer and there are cyber ghosts that are going to kill us because of it.
This movie reminded me a lot of Tetsuo the Bullet Man, which is the American produced Tetsuo sequel, which has the plot
The
point
third
in the
Tetsuo.
like the end of the fucking movie out of nowhere that the weird metallic like fleshy transformations happening to this boring ass character are the result of an American military project. And there's this
Uh-huh.
like random line in the middle of Pulse 2006 uh, where they meet this character who the boyfriend is trying to meet at the start of the movie before he's killed by a cyber ghost.
Oh
This
my
hacker
god!
guy, and he's like,
Yeah,
oh my god, yeah, don't come in, don't come in. The signals, the military signals.
he's
There's
like,
something weird.
yeah, he's like, was a part of like the, I guess like the patient zero group.
Yeah.
Like he watched all his friends die of this, and then he learned that like red utility tape blocks out ghosts, so his like house is like covered in it,
Hmm.
and he's just like babbling about like U.S. military projects and bullshit, and then it turns out there's like a ghost server, so they
Hmm.
go to the ghost server, and the climax happens at the ghost server, where the like the main the guy who's been the Mr.
Mr.
Sexy
Hot
Man,
Stuff.
he plugs his USB stick in and he like shuts down the ghost server, and then the ghost server is just like, actually I want to be on, and comes back on. And
It's this.
there's like no
The,
resolution in this movie, but not in like an interesting way. It just like every time they stop the ghosts are like, no, we're ghosts.
the ghosts are treated so weird. So like, there's the ghost of that kills the boyfriend, right? And I'm just saying, oh, there's one ghost, and then there's ghosts that turn people to mold, and then there's ghosts that like are zombies, and then they're like, I don't know. There's this really bizarre scene after they like at the end of the movie. Like we never really find out what causes the ghosts or where they're coming from. But at the end of the movie, Veronica Mars is looking at her telephone, and there's like a broadcast, like a radio broadcast that says like turn off all electronic devices and shit. And then she notices that her phone signal is really really high, and then ghosts come, and they attack. But like, is that what causes ghosts? How come? Like, what's with the radio broadcast? If it says to turn off all devices, how is anyone supposed to get that message? Like, wouldn't they die if they hear it? Like, what's the? I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't get it. These ghosts are so inconsistent. They're like
They
monstrous
just,
and
yeah,
also
they just
like
appear.
people that were killed, and then they're also like bald and toothy.
Yeah, but there's no like actual like direct visual connection between the people who have died, other than that their likenesses are occasionally recaptured as was,
Yeah.
and then the ghosts that attack, which are just like movie monsters.
Yeah. I This movie was so bizarrely confused. It made me kind of worried. Like, Pulse has been on my list for a while. The actual movie. And
Yeah.
I had to keep telling myself, like, I sure hope this movie is taking a lot of liberties, because I got worried, oh,
is.
fuck. What if the
No, Pulse
actual
is really
movie
good.
I've been
Pulse
excited
2001, Pulse 2001 whips. It bangs. It's
the
great.
okay, so my big theory, not theory, but like prediction, that the only thing it takes from the original films, or the original film, is number one, a vague focus on computers, and number two, the image, not the use, but the image of a window being covered in red tape. I'm assuming that's it.
I'll choose to not tell you that one.
Thank you. It was so there's a really weird deep cut comparison that I was feeling a lot while watching this movie. There's this movie called Gamebox 1.0.
Yeah, you told me about this during the movie, and I was like, I have no... What the fuck is Gamebox 1.0? 2.0?
1.0.
1.0.
Have you ever seen those DVD collections that's like 50 horror classics, and they're just like movies that no one's ever fucking heard of?
Yeah.
So Gamebox 1.0 is one of those movies, and it's about this guy who gets this VR headset and plays like video games based on his life, but they all have this weird killer twist or something. It's trying to be like a heartfelt horror movie, and it's actually kind of charming. But I was so brought back to that movie while watching Pulse 2006 because they're kind of equally low budget.
Yeah.
Actually, what's super weird is like the names on Pulse 2006 are kind of fucking crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw Stan Winston's name as like the designer of the creatures. Stan Winston is this extremely
Brad
famous...
Dourif shows up.
Brad Dourif shows up for a cameo, and he's
just like a crazy guy yelling at somebody in a diner, and then this goth girl who looks like the girl from Sleater Kinney like appears and is like, "Knock it off, old man."
It's so weird. And like Wes Craven wrote the screenplay.
Wrote it. He was supposed to direct it also, but he ended up not.
But it's still, I mean, I thought it was funny seeing on the Wikipedia page that it was like he was not interested in directing this movie. But I mean, it shows based off of this fucking screenplay. Like, why would you put your name on this, man? Like, it was so bad.
The girl who sings the Kim Possible theme is in it.
Yeah, the girl who sings Kim Possible theme is in that movie as like Veronica Mars's like black best friend, and she's just there to like be there for Veronica Mars when bad things happen.
There's a scene where Veronica Mars is just like walking somewhere, and she like looks up, and someone like jumps off a tower and like kills themselves, and then it like cuts to Veronica Mars's face, and then it like cuts to a pan of like a police car, and like Kim Possible theme song is there hugging Veronica Mars, and then she doesn't say anything, and then she doesn't appear for like
she doesn't appear for the rest of the movie until she dies,
until her death scene starts ramping up, and it's just like, who is this girl?
I feel bad for her. Like none of these characters besides Veronica Mars get any development, but we're supposed to feel bad when
the characters of color were especially bizarre because there's this like that guy whose like deal is that he like
bootlegs DVDs.
Yes, he like is just like, I if you want it, I've got it, and he like has a very strange personality, and he's of course the other than the boyfriend that is like the impetus for the situation. He's the first to die.
Yeah.
And then there's just that white boy.
The white boy that looks like a weird McElroy brother.
He looks like Justin. He looks like if you like gave. Oh god, that's gonna sound insane, but he looks like you gave Justin McElroy Ozempic.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were gonna fucking say that somehow. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And that's just what he looks like. Very podcast vibes, says basically nothing in the whole film, has no personality, has no distinct like trait. Like even on like a base stereotypical level, these like characters, like I guess the other two friends have traits because they are characters of color and therefore they have a assigned stereotype to him.
Yeah.
And by being a white guy, he is just the white guy.
He's just the white guy. Like, this movie is so lame.
But do you want to talk about the one thing that we do kind of love from this film, which is the weird music video cyber
Oh my god,
world
I forgot about this.
that they cut to like twice?
Yeah, you go into it.
So what it is occasionally they will cut to being like she will like have like a brief conversation with her dead boyfriend in this like, music video like cyber world, which is like a frosty blue inverted like kind of blurry and smudgy like recreation of like the Romanian set that they're filming in, and it honestly kind of fucks.
It kind of fucked.
It's like
they
really
were, like,
cool looking.
Like they were on the top of like a factory, and there's like smokestacks so you can see, and
yeah, and it's like inverted and blue tinted, so it's like
there's
because one thing about this film is that the whole color grading of it is trying to rip off Gore Verbinski's The Ring,
which I haven't seen.
It's actually, out of all of the American remake of like quote unquote J-horror films, Verbinski's first The Ring film I think is the most solid.
Okay. I'll give it a watch. I've seen Ring before, and I really liked it. I doubt that they're going to be very similar. One thing I really liked about Ring is like
beats.
I like that it was a mystery movie. Oh, what a good movie! And oh man, it reminded me so much of I really like the movie what is it, Gamera 2: Attack of Legion, because most of that movie is just please watch that movie. Most of that movie is just people like solving a mystery, and it's these shots of like people on computers. I don't know, not related. But the music video, like Linkin Park zones were so
they use them like twice for like a very short brief minute, but it is like the one creative choice of this film that I will give them.
It was like, I wouldn't call it a strong creative choice, but it was a creative choice. It was
fascinating. I was like, oh, this looks like something.
This looks like something, and we hooked onto it immediately because like, what else was there? Like the Veronica Mars is there's like 2 locations in this movie, 2, and it's the outside of the fucking college, which again is so indistinct, and all the only words that you see on it just say computer center. And then it's like the apartment, the scary apartment.
Extremely European looking apartment building.
Yeah, like so there's these like a bunch of exposed pipes and really big like out of window AC units, and it literally does not look like a single location that in the States. It's so funny to me. This movie,
Romania filming is always an interesting.
This movie sucks so much ass. Like,
yeah, and then the end of it is just like
does it sequel bait?
They get in. Yeah, it's sequel bait because they get into a truck and they drive off, and it's kind of like the end of 10 Cloverfield Lane, where they're just kind of like, aliens are killing us. It's like that, but with cyber ghosts, and they're like going to like an Amish commune essentially is.
Yeah.
There's no technology.
That was so.
And this leads to 2, count 'em, 2 direct-to-DVD sequels to this American Pulse film that exist.
I have long been curious about the actual movie, and I'm especially curious. Wait, did the actual movie ever get any sequels, or or not, or anything?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's so funny to me, because then it's like this movie, which is supposedly based off of it, which is so rote and so like middle of the road and boring, gets 2 fucking sequels. Like, what could they possibly have? What are they?
You can really tell that it was part of the blueprint of the Weinsteins, who were just like shitting out Hellraiser sequels all the time. It was very much of like, they loved to do that. They were just like, boom, direct-to-DVD horror sequels, let's go.
Direct-to-DVD horror sequels, but also like, here's a script that that supposedly, or that for something entirely different that we're just gonna like
flew our way.
yeah.
Because what I was able to read from the premise of Pulse 2 is that the rules of the ghosts have changed, because now it seems that they are like in the place they died, like looping their death scene over and over, which is not what was happening in this movie.
The movie that we watched had no consistent rules on the ghosts.
It had a guy who was painted white and bald attacking people.
There was that one scene. One thing I didn't understand is why Veronica Mars never turned in the mold. Like, that was really weird to me, because it seemed like
she doesn't even get signs of it. Really,
she doesn't even get signs. Like, everyone.
I guess because she's just too computer stupid.
I guess so. So like, there's a couple of scenes where people will look at the ghost computer server or whatever, and then they'll get like signs of mold degradation.
Yeah, because it appears on their skin. Like,
it appears on their skin, and it's almost instantaneous. So like,
yeah, but nothing ever happens to. Well, she like, one looks at her in the face, and it starts like sucking on her soul, and then the sexy man shows up and is like, "Don't look the other way," and then she's fine.
Like, oh, I'm cured. So bootleg DVD guy looks at the boyfriend computer or something. No, he gets killed by the cyber ghost there, and then becomes all moldy. But like, he just looks at the cyber ghost and it sucks his face off, and he becomes moldy. Then you have Ozempic McElroy, who looks at the scary ghost computer and gets moldy. And then you have Kim Possible Theme, who I don't remember what the fuck happened. She looked at a woman and was like, "Do you want to hang out?" And the woman was like, "Ew, gross." And then she got moldy? Like, what the fuck happened?
No, she was doing her laundry, and then she was asking another girl doing laundry if she, like...
if there were any parties nearby.
If there are any parties around, and she's like, "I don't party."
Yeah.
And then she, like... I don't remember what happens, but eventually she's just, like, sick.
She's just moldy. She becomes moldy. I don't know what happens.
She's the only one to explode, because like, she's like holding a knife and she's like, "I don't want to do it." And then like, she takes like Veronica Mars like takes the knife away, takes her to the bed, and then she's like standing, and then she like explodes into mold particles.
So one of my first thoughts when we started this movie, they should have got Emily Osment on this shit. Like,
yeah,
they
I started
should've...
texting our mutual friend about it, and then our mutual friend also immediately, the first thing that she said was, they should get Emily Osment on this shit. And I was like, why?
This movie had like the same vibe, weirdly like a similar color grade, which isn't true, to that Emily Osment movie called Cyberbully. Where she's like, "I'm being bullied so hard, I need to kill myself with pills."
I guess I can see like a cold and blue, and there are computers and a blonde girl.
Exactly. That's all you need. That's all you need.
But I guess that she would have been like a later choice, because Veronica Mars was popping off at this time. So
you mentioned,
let's get Veronica Mars.
You mentioned at
she's still on Hannah Montana.
Yeah, that's the thing. You mentioned while we were watching the movie, like, she was on Hannah Montana right now.
She
There's
was
no
not
way in
quite
hell.
yet for her serious Disney breakaway yet, I don't think.
Emily Osment was in a...
Miley Cyrus Can't Be Tamed wasn't even out yet.
There was a movie that I remember that Emily Osment was in, based on R.L. Stein's Goosebumps. And, you know, this is usually when a Disney Channel star like does other things, they do try to push like a really mediocre like music career. And I remember that the song for that movie, and it should kind of come as no surprise that I have OCD, but the reason why I bring it up is because the song's like main chorus says the phrase "don't think about it," and as a child I was like, okay, I can't think about it. But because the song is so like boring pop song, like earworm pop song, I would think about it constantly, and it'd be like, I'm breaking the song's rules.
That's crazy.
That's my only other Emily Osment story.
I don't think I have any Emily Osment stories, and I honestly don't. I
Hey, do you think Haley Joel Osment's gonna be in Kingdom Hearts 4?
Yes. What do you mean? So
he was recently arrested.
Oh.
Wait,
really?
Yes, he was like high, or not? Is it high? He was on coke and like at a ski resort, and started hurling anti-Semitic slurs at a cop.
Oh, okay. I heard nothing about this.
This was extremely recent. This might have been like 2 weeks ago. Hey, speaking of 2 weeks in Kingdom Hearts, guess what happened yesterday?
Oh yeah, we got some Kingdom Hearts 4 news.
We got
And Missing Link was canceled.
we got some really...
So I guess we do have a little bit to talk about for our Kingdom Hearts corner, which is that I'm not really worried about the Haley Joel Osment thing. I mean, it sucks that he was saying
sucks.
some horrible shit, but given that he is a celebrity, I'm sure he will just be on parole, and somehow there will be a way to record his lines if need be. Other than that, yeah, Missing Link was canceled, and then a couple hours later, they did like a screenshot collage.
And what was especially funny is I was talking to my friend. About how you have this opinion, and I like most of the time when we talk about it, I agree. Where like people will say we haven't gotten any news on X, Y, or Z game. Oh, I hate waiting. And you will normally bring up, well, there's so much shit to do, so it doesn't really bother me. But I was talking about how, like, it is a little, like, I can totally understand why people are frustrated for not getting any Kingdom Hearts 4 news.
Yeah.
Because it's been years. And then the day, like, either during the call or during the call, he mentions they canceled Missing Link.
Yeah,
And
so...
all we had, the most recent news at that time was we are working very hard on Kingdom Hearts 4. Then the very next day they post screenshots.
Yeah, okay, so what the compilation of images is, it is a few images of Sora in the area that we saw him in the first trailer, like the real life like highway and stuff.
I forgot what it was
big
called.
place.
Do I remember what it's called?
Do
I know what it's called?
I don't know if you do, but
I know it's from the...
It's like Quadratum or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway, three or four of the pictures is... One is of, like, that play... Like, it's a reflection of Sora's face and something is shining. The one next to that is, like, something is shining, but you can't see Sora's face. And then another one is the Kingdom Hearts 1 first boss, tutorial boss, Heartless, but, like, way big, and it's dark out. And then one of him in battle, which is notable because
there's that build command.
Build.
What does that mean?
I presume is I presume that's going to be because Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, 2 has the drive forms, and then 3 has an evolution of the drive forms, and I'm assuming build is going to be some continuation of that placement in the game mechanics. And then one is just a picture of
Strelitzia.
Yeah, her face. And then one is just a picture
phone.
of a landline phone. It's like cropped really, so you can't see anything other than the phone. So there is just the phone.
That's the image that's most striking to me, which is crazy because the image next to it is Mickey Mouse in what seems to be Hollow Bastion.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse in the very differently lit library puzzle. It is some form of like, I don't know if it is Hollow Bastion or if it is simply a reference to the library sliding puzzle, but it is the library sliding puzzle. And he does because he's like small and on a chandelier, it is giving me like the aura of like a stealth game.
Yeah,
so
I know
I'm not sure what's going on there. But
I'm shocked that Mickey is there at all. Like, genuinely, so this is our first... I know it's Kingdom Hearts, but this is our first, like, not to sound like a gamer bro podcast, but this is our first confirmation of Disney content in Kingdom Hearts 4, because the other trailer made sure to not really show any of that, which I thought was interesting.
Something that interests me is that I'm wondering if there is going to be some, because
did you notice that Mickey was also super duper realistic?
I didn't notice that really.
I mean,
I just thought that's what the game looks like.
That's what the game looks like, but I also know. I mean, I have to figure that Shibuya, Quadratum, whatever. Looks so radically different because Sora looks weird.
Yeah,
like a guy.
yeah.
He looks like
notably like he has normal proportions that are
normal proportions and pores.
stylized in a more realistic manner.
Yeah,
But
but
that makes me wonder if there's going to be some like aspect of the game where it's like you are perhaps like Mickey trying to solve the situation with Sora outside of his whole quadratum thing.
yeah,
Like I'm wondering if this is all part of like a Roxas style
like get him out of the simulation thing.
prologue. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even consider it was the prologue. My idea
I mean,
for the
I doubt I doubt this is stuff that's like 20 hours into the game or anything.
I mean, yeah, of course. But because we have so little, funnily enough, to the David that's not listening, my cousin, there's a lot of like theories that people have for Deltarune chapters like 3 and 4 and 5 and stuff based off of very limited information. And my ass is like, I think Kingdom Hearts 4 is gonna be about tearing Sora out from the real world to bring him back into cartoon land, with extremely limited information. Which I think is kind of funny. I mean, what's especially funny between like the Deltarune comparison and Kingdom Hearts 4 specifically, weird focus on a phone. What's up with that? Super cool. The phone is like the most striking image to me in Kingdom Hearts, like of that screenshot stuff, because I mean it's so obviously cropped that I have to wonder who's calling and who's on the receiving end.
This is something that you would latch onto.
Of course.
It makes a lot more sense to me than the like sliver of like the forest screenshot where like people were like, that's a stormtrooper.
I don't know how the fuck people thought that I mean, it could be. I'm gonna be honest with you. It could be. Who gives a shit? But like, for them to see a shot of a forest and be like, that's Endor. That's Endor. It's Star Wars. It's fucking Star Wars.
I'm zooming in on the Mickey screenshot and he has it. I
fur.
didn't even notice it. No. He doesn't.
Am I crazy? I thought there was like small specularity on the fur.
I don't see it now.
Okay.
Anyway, he does have a command menu, which I didn't notice, and it just says attack. So
yeah, so he is playable.
Like, yeah, but he obviously like he stanced up and he has no keyblade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if there's something to that.
I mean, we'll find out
also,
in 12 years.
The Neo shadows that look a lot more
like people?
Like individual humans.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
I think that's really cool. I hope to God there's a photo mode in this game.
Yeah, there might be.
Was there a photo mode in 3?
I don't remember. Oh, there's you can only take the
selfie camera.
Lame. He has the selfie camera. I don't remember if it has any additions in like Remind or anything, but yeah.
One of my favorite features.
My favorite thing about Square Enix photo modes is that you will always get that giant rights reserved.
Ugh, I actually do really like that.
I don't.
I think it's kind of charming.
Well, I take a lot of landscape shots.
Me too.
And so I like to have like minimal interference with just the landscape.
It's more intrusive, I think, on the Kingdom Hearts screenshots because it says like Disney, Pixar, Square Enix. But
yeah, it's a lot of bullshit.
On the screenshots from Final Fantasy VII, I'm gonna get into photo modes in a hot second. But on the screenshots for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and
this can
Rebirth,
be like our closing statement.
I got a little bit more than just a statement, but it's like smaller text, which is nice.
Yeah.
I hope to God that the photo mode, if there is one in Kingdom Hearts 4, is better than the 7 Remake one. Just because they are like limited in very bizarre ways.
Was the photo mode for Remake something they added in Intergrade, or
they added it in I think it was like a post-release patch. And
okay, because I didn't play it with a photo mode because
neither did I at first.
I've never replayed it.
I replayed it. I've played it on release. It was a game that Chris and I played during lockdown.
I probably won't replay it until I have some functional ability to play
Rebirth.
Yeah, and I don't right now because I can't afford a PlayStation 5. So.
I mean, that's why I replayed it because we got Rebirth
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So I replayed
You
Remake,
took
and I was like,
Halfsies or whatever.
ooh, a photo mode. But the photo mode is like kind of lame. It's cool, but it's kind of lame because
Uh-huh.
the camera's on like a half spherical track, and it's like a very small circle around the player character.
Uh-huh.
So you can't get too crazy with your shot compositions,
Mm.
and there's also no like depth of field focus, or like the vignette feature isn't really fun, or like it's really limited. There's no fun poses that you can do. I get that you not every
Damn.
game has that, but I love poses.
Uh-huh.
Something
Posters are fun.
I do love though is that you can pause in between attacks, like,
Yeah.
and the effect of whatever attack will like kind of be
Yeah.
maintained. So I got a
The
lot of
beautiful
cool
particle
shots.
effects. Yeah, you sent me some of those that you took.
Um, man, but I also just think like there could be much more to be done with a photo mode. I think the best photo modes in games are like
Yeah.
Remedy
The Sora selfie stuff does at least have like
filters.
does a peace sign at you.
Oh, so it's like Yakuza.
Be- because he's like Sora. So I mean, I haven't played selfie era Yakuza, so I don't know.
Those games are fun. Like really, I really have this weird habit. In the Dragon
I've been
Engine
stuck on
Yakuza
Zero
games.
for ages.
I like Zero, but you can't play that game in first person. So I really like going into first person in the Dragon Engine games and just being a menace. It's really funny for some
Yeah,
reason.
that does sound fun.
It kind of is because you obviously you maintain the character momentum and like movement of the
Mhm.
third person character, and the way that works is like a rubber band. So you'll go to top speed pretty quickly, and then you'll kind of bounce and slow down.
Okay.
So seeing that in first person while you're running into destructible signs and bumping into people and
Oh, that's funny.
knocking over bicycles is like endless fun for me. Uh,
I love
I
that for you.
I hope
I look forward to getting to those eventually. I like Zero. I have found myself continuously like going through long periods of not playing it. I've been playing it since I think like 2020 or 2021.
for about as long as like I've known you, you've mentioned like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, one day I'll get back to it. One day I'll get
I'm
back to
done
it.
with the I mean I'm done with the main story, so
I mean, yeah,
there's
you're
stuff
just
I
on
want to
premium
do.
adventure now.
Yeah. Which I've
Honestly,
done a
like
what?
as soon as I get the premium adventure, I always drop off. Like I don't know,
Huh.
like
I actually had a big spurt when I started Premium Adventure because I suddenly just was like, oh, nice. Because I don't know, I don't really have that. When I play games like this, I'm very like main story focused.
mhm.
Other than like games with like explorable items and stuff, like I will always go the opposite direction of
Yeah.
where I think the dungeon is wanting me to go. Um, but in games like this, it's always like I will do a sub story, and if it happens, like if I walk down a street and it happens. But other than that, I was pretty much focused on being like, okay, I'm gonna beat the story, and then I'm going to basically. I like when my games turn into my podcast hobby, where I'm just like, okay, pause my podcast because side story plot is happening, but then
Mhm.
like running around and just doing bullshit.
Whenever I play the Yakuza games,
I've taken to the RC car game though.
Oh, that's so fun. I'm
That
really
shit's fun.
I love that sub story a lot just because I think Kiryu getting into like children drama is really it's a fun place to put him in, and it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
There's Kiryu is such a funny character because he like kind of doesn't belong in any world, but especially
Uh-huh.
putting him like peer to peer with children. Like I like the scene where Pocket Circuit Fighter is like we use like Chan here. We don't call everybody by son, and Kiryu's like okay, sure.
Yeah.
Like that's
I like
just
Kiryu a
good.
lot. But yeah, I'll have to. I'm excited to. I'm not going to play.
Kiwami.
Kiwami or Kiwami 2. I'm gonna play the
Good.
PS2 versions.
PS2 versions are, I'm heavily biased, but they just
Yeah.
look so much better.
I don't think Kiwami looks bad, and I think they are good for people who want to be eased into the series after Zero. But I personally I play a lot of PS2 games like that anyway, so I have no problem with just playing the PS2 versions.
It's kind of shocking, like, how kind of easy it is to slip into Yakuza 1. The biggest change, obviously, is that it doesn't have a free cam.
Yeah.
It's all.
But I like that. I like its
I
first perspective a lot.
Its perspective is so cool.
It has a lot of cool cutscene direction as well.
I really love its fog. Like, when it rains, it looks so pretty. Oh, and the way that the neon looks. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to get to that. I will hopefully do it at some point this year, maybe.
The story behind, like, Yakuza 1's development is it's kind of funny to me. Like, it's
I don't know anything about it.
Huh?
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay. So, it's a really high budget game that, it was like the last pitch from this designer at Sega. He was like, I really want to do this big project that's really important to me. And I know it's going to be about the red light district, and it's going to be about crime, and if it's high budget, and if it bombs, like, fire me, punish me in whatever way that you see fit. And he put a lot of faith into it. But the cutest story to me is that it was very close to getting, like, an adult only rating in Japan.
I think I knew that.
And because because of the subject of the game, like, that caused a lot of, like, controversy. But he talked to one of the raiders that was playing, and he's like, you have to understand that this game isn't focused on that kind of, like, subject matter. Its most important relationship is between this estranged, weird father-daughter relationship. I need you to play the game with that in mind. I need you to see that. And the raider was like, I can't make any promises. But when they got the ratings back, it was like a much more affable rating, and I just think that's kind of cute. Like, it was it's so like, during game shows, because of its rating, it had to be, like, blocked from all sides. Like, it was in an enclosed booth so that, like, kids couldn't see it. I just thought, like, that's such an interesting thing. I don't know. That game's super neat to me. And also the dub's funny.
Yeah, Mark Hamill and all that. I don't know if I'm gonna play with the dub, but we'll see.
Motherfucker. It's weird that, like, the series is getting dubs now.
Is
like,
it?
Yes. So it got the 1 dub, and then for up until 7, it was undubbed, and then 7 got a dub, and every game since has been dubbed, and that's, like, so weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's quite popular now, so.
It is.
That increases accessibility because some people don't like to hear foreign languages, I guess. I
guess. I mean, I'll be honest.
I don't have anything left to say. I think I'm out of steam for recording today.
You want to just end the episode then?
Yeah. Don't.
Oh, do you have anything to plug?
No.
Neither do I. Bye!
Bye!